The next performer she is not prude. She's not prude. I feel like such a dork beside her. And she's like, oh, this is her, talks about, and everything's her. And I'm always sitting, I'm like, yeah, cool. And I'm just like getting more and more sweaty and like, yes. But I do enjoy it as long as I don't have to. I listen and I learn. Oh, yeah. Listen and learn. A big applause for Jules Gleeson!
So I was buying myself a new dick from my local dick store the other day. And I know what some of you are thinking, with the shoulder-length brunette hair and the combat boots. Typical bisexual girl move, right? Can't get enough of those dicks, bisexual girls. So, wow, you're nervous. Some of you are thinking it, right? I can tell. So we're going to talk about dicks and biphobia tonight, two of my favorite topics. Two of my very favorite topics. So biphobia, what are people afraid of? It's a funny word, right? Why would you be afraid of a bisexual? Right, so a lot of people are afraid that bisexuals are going to leave them for men. And a lot of people believe that bisexuals have this like slutty, innate nature. And what makes me feel proud to be a bisexual more than anything else is like, we really lean into our stereotypes. We really go for it. We don't smash stereotypes, we just like, we're like, yeah. We're just getting started. So, do you know what the first magazine ever founded by bisexuals, by bisexual advocates, is called? Anyone? History quiz? Anyone? Okay. It was called Anything That Moves. So that's how we roll. Anything that moves. But I should clarify, I'm actually quite a sapphic bisexual myself. I've had one boyfriend. I had a boyfriend when I was 19 years old. He was the same age, and he was a gay guy. That was my one boyfriend. If you're wondering how that worked, the answer is heavy drinking. And no regrets. Yeah, so one boyfriend. But so as you can probably tell, I have this real preference for dicks over guys. Like, I think if I had to choose, I'm all about dicks over guys, and I actually have a genital preference. I prefer, like, detachable dicks. That's, like, it's the best kind of dick for me. Detachable, take it or leave it dicks. And those are my fave. And when I say that, people are like, well, what's the difference? And people have different ideas about what the difference is. So to clarify, purchasable dicks, you can get them in all shapes and sizes. You can get like your favorite porn performer's equipment in a mold, if you like. Has anyone got one of those? No one wants to admit it. All right. You can get ones which you warm up in the microwave, so you can get ones which are like heatable, like, you just warm them up and plug them in, great. So it's not the heat, it's not the ejaculation. You can load dicks up with fake semen. You can load it up with real piss. So if you want some kind of messy climax of your dreams, you can achieve that with a dildo, I assure you. I promise you. And often what people tell me, did that one need applause? Okay. I really appreciate the people who clapped that water the first time. That's great. Pissing dicks, that's what we need. Yeah, and I often hear like, well, the difference with strap-ons, the difference is the pleasure, the difference is the sensation, that only one person gets to feel it. But this is not true, this is not the case. There are what we call strapless dildos. Strapless dildos, you hold them in place with your PC muscles, so you just grab them inside the cunt. And the nice thing about them is they have a nice little ridge, so the top the person fucking with the cock, is grinding their clit against this dick as they fuck. So, reciprocal pleasure, mutual joy, you can achieve that with a dildo. I sound like a salesman at this point, but... I'm just trying to do a setup for what the actual difference is. And the actual difference is taste. Not that taste. No, sensibility. Dick sensibility. Because, if you encounter someone with a beautiful, biologically attached dick, it's kind of random, right? It's what we call arbitrary. So praising someone for the goods that they've just got hanging out there, that's kind of like saying, you love their height. It's like, well... It has got to do with childhood protein intake, but it's not, it's not something they had much control over. It's not something they really did much. So they can just be like, well, thanks, I grew it myself, great. That's as far as it goes. But when someone brings a dick that they bought or made for you, and you're like, wow, 7 inches and purple, you shouldn't have, that's great. Out of all the pissing microwavable dicks on the market, you got this one. I'm getting a sense of your aesthetic right now. So that's distinction number 1. Okay, actually, I'm going to talk about another little distinction. But firstly, I should say this is my first time performing with PCCC in 9 months or longer. Yeah, it's ages. And I first performed with the Politically Correct Comedy Club back in 2018, end of 2018. And do we have any new people in the audience? New people? Cool. Yeah, it's like a third of you. Sweet. So the thing with the Politically Correct Comedy Club is a lot of people believe that we're trying to be inoffensive, and this could not be farther from the truth. I don't know if we've established that together yet, but just wait to hear the second end of the set if you don't believe me yet. But we don't try and be inoffensive. We're just trying to offend the people that own everything. That's... So with that said, men's dicks and women's dicks. What is the difference between men's dicks and women's dicks? Now, this is a popular topic of recent interest. Now, a lot of people, when comparing men and women's, we're talking biologically attached, born and raised genitals at this point, not dildos anymore, just to clarify. A lot of people will reference surface level differences, like men and women smell differently, women's dicks usually are softer, kind of more velvety, the flavor is different, the cum volume is definitely different. I don't know if any of you have tried to organize a bukkake party before. Anyone? Come on, someone be honest. Only me? Okay. So when you're trying to organize a bukkake party, anyone who's done this knows you need twice or even 3 times as many women as you would normally need for men. So the volume is just completely incomparable. If you want to achieve the desired effect. So these are the surface level differences. Well, okay, maybe ejaculate is not surface level, but anyway, comes out of the prostate. But anyway, you have these surface level differences, but for me, the deeper differences between female and male dicks are ego. It's ego. Because feminism has kind of failed us, ladies and gentlemen. Sadly, large genitals and masculinity are still heavily associated, let's say, on a cultural level. Well, every cultural level, sadly. This is kind of 2 things which are seen together. So complimenting men on their genitals as a slutty bisexual feminist is very tricky, because I'm a bit more into emasculation than I am affirmation when it comes to male egos. I don't know about you, but it becomes like a minefield. It's a tricky one, because it feels like I can't even be creative. Anything nice I say about a man's genitals, it just gets taken one way. It just kind of puffs them up. So have any of you tried calling a guy's dick beautiful? Or pretty? Anyone tried pretty? How about fragrant? Some of you must have encountered a fragrant dick, They're not all the same in that way. But anything I say to them, these guys are just like, yeah, it's big. Yeah, I did really well. It's huge. They just take it as the apogee of masculine achievement. They're like, I've made it, it's done. It's finished. And as a slutty bisexual, I'm like, well, I have bigger dicks on my bedside table. I'm not here for the size, my friend. So, so it's due to the ego that I have this issue with complimenting gents on their genitals, and this is just it's something I like to do. But with women, all right, fine. One inclusivity point. Not all women have dicks. Some women are born without dicks. We need to raise awareness of this. We need to do some fundraisers. But we're just talking about the normal type of woman tonight, okay? And also bisexual dicks, I have no jokes about them because they're just the best. I mean, no competition, sorry. So that's all I got to say on that one. But yeah, women's dicks. Now, women's dicks are kind of the minefield from the other direction because a lot of them just want to forget that they're there, you know? They just don't want you bringing attention to it. And this causes me problems as a very complimentary lover because it's really, again, it's like no matter what I try, I can try and be like as soft and as like affectionate and as I can put in some poetical flourishes, if you will. Like I can, like I can say, wow, darling, your dick is like velvet rolling down a pearl. It's like the dew of a fine spring morning. There's one more. Your dick is like the first ray of dawn breaking over the horizon. It fills me with life. Just in a casual hookup, you know. Just small talk. And whatever you say, she just rolls over and she's like, yeah, well, don't get used to it. So it's an issue, the ego. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so I'm in the local dick store, my local dick store, buying myself a new dick. And for those of you who are curious, my local dick store is Gate. Have any of you been to Gate? Yeah! You know it. They're not sponsoring me, but... That's awesome, I know. So I was at Gate, and I'm actually closer to Spartacus. I'm like 10 minutes walk closer to Spartacus, but I'm sure a lot of you have been to Spartacus. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I'm sure pretty much all of you have been to Spartacus, and you'll probably know it's more of like the Hoffa level sex store. It's not penny marked. It's not the cheapest, sleaziest sex store there is, but it's quite, utilitarian. And as you may have noticed, I have a kind of gourmet approach to genitals. I'm more of an interspa kind of gal when it comes to junk. And Gate has an art gallery. If you haven't been, go check out the art gallery. It's next to the BDSM dungeon. Because if there's one thing my first and only boyfriend taught me, it's that gay men don't fuck around when it comes to dicks, like they're champions. So there's an art gallery. I recommend it. And I go into Gate, the gourmet gay sex store, and I notice they have a whole table full of discount dicks. So I'm like, this is great. That looks cool. A whole table full of cheap dicks. And we're talking really cheap, like 10 for a kind of back pocket cock kind of thing, does the job. 15 for the kind of like high grade, fancy, the double headers, the corkscrews, the sounding rods. These are all the fancy shit. The stuff I live for is 15 euros. So there's one problem, there's one issue, there's one holdup, which is I notice all of these dicks are very aesthetic, they're very gorgeous. That's something that would make me proud to crack out aesthetically, but they're all made out of glass. And you can see the problem. They're all made out of glass. So firstly, I might drop one. And secondly, like, what is a blowjob without a bit of teeth, right? What? Why even go to town on a dick without a bit of biting? It's just a habit at this point. My jaw just locks in as soon as I see one. I'm like, damn. Can't wait to feel that squish, I see some men shuffling in their seats, wow. Okay. Some women just bite harder than others, right? So there I am, and it's an issue. And silicon's fine. Silicon's just like kind of chewing on a hot dog, But glass, so, I try and be compromising. And I asked this guy, the proprietor of Gay, gourmet gay sex store. I ask him, do you have any gum shields? Do you have any gum shields? And he looks confused. Are any of you native German speakers? Native German speakers? There's a few of you. There's a few left. You know, native German speakers often complain about English, but really, if you think English is bad and you're a German, just try and watch an American try and like talk to an English person without laughing for 10 minutes. Denice knows. They think we're adorable, but gum shields, he's like, I don't know what you mean, really. Like dental dams? I'm like, no, not dental dams. No, you know, when you're playing football, I mean soccer, I mean football, American, okay, football. And he's like, oh, you mean a mouth guard? A mouth guard, yeah. Of course, like we're a gay sex store. We've got like a whole floor full of sportswear. What are you talking about? If there's one thing the gay men like more than dicks, it's jocks, right? So that's the happy ending to my story. 2 glass cocks to gum the night away with. With my lesbian girlfriend, I'll have you know. There we go, biphobia smash. She's actually here tonight. My girlfriend's here tonight. I think this is the first time she's seen me perform. Yeah. I'm not going to embarrass her by putting her on the spot. I think she's embarrassed enough, but that's the case. I hope that this has resolved some biphobic associations at this point. I'm like a role model. I'm like the outreach bisexual they send out. They're like, Jules, go tell them about biting dicks. That's what you need to do. That's the energy we need to project into the world. Cool. So I was supposed to be speaking to you about coming out tonight. And maybe I have been. So this is the plot twist. I'm going to get historical. So back in the day, back before gay liberation, back before the Stonewall riots, coming out had a very different meaning. You didn't talk about coming out of the closet. Closet was like a separate idea, but you did come out. And what did it mean to come out? It was actually a term that got poached from ballroom culture, from debutantes. So you made your debut on a ball. It's when you kind of showed up for the first time. And that's what coming out used to mean. Coming out used to mean when you were presenting yourself to your own kind, to the other homosexuals, for the very first time. So these days we would call it hitting the scene. Hitting the scene, perhaps literally. And what it would mean is that it was the first time you'd go cruising, it was the first time you'd go into a bar, it was the first time you'd go to a ball, it was the first time you'd go to a sleazy house party. That was when you came out, and then every time after that you'd remember your first experience. And I think that's something we can kind of get back to. Like, I think there's kind of a limit on how useful it is coming out as this thing which is oriented towards heterosexuals, towards like telling the whole world, telling your high school friends, getting in a strange conversation with your aunt about what a grace pansexual is. I think that has maybe had its day, and maybe we should go back to like coming out the old-fashioned way. Like you come out in the Marriott Alta toilets doing something very unwise. Something very unwise that reminds you of the good old days. Maybe coming out is something that you do in the Mango Bar, kind of drinking lots of vodka shots and pretending Lady Gaga just released a good album. Maybe it's something you do avoiding your ex at the bar at the Politically Correct Comedy Club. Maybe it's something that you do... Wow. Wow, 2 of you were like, which ex? And for those of you that are still a bit more COVID cautious, maybe coming out is something you do lazing around in the garden, the very underrated garden at the Villa Vida, gossiping away into the night. Maybe it's something you do taking overpriced hummus to the big gay picnic to try and impress the people who work at the UN. Maybe maybe coming out is like harmlessly flirting with a gay guy who runs a gourmet sex store. Maybe those are the moments that we come out. And I would just like to say, whoever you are, wherever you're coming from, whoever you're coming out to or with, enjoy yourselves. And remember, life is far too short not to be a scene queen. Good night. Thank you.
Jules Gleeson!